Hey everyone, welcome to the Steam Shop. This week's Apollo's 50th anniversary and I'm super excited for it. So of course we're going to celebrate. But how are we going to celebrate? With a couple of kits, of course. Before Apollo ever lifted off the ground, it needed to be programmed. And one of the most famous programmers is Margaret Hamilton, who is one of the figures in this super cool set, which is the Lego Women of NASA set. And I've been wanting to build this for a super long time, so I'm super excited. And then from there, Apollo had to go to the moon. So our second set is going to be the super cool Saturn V rocket set. I've also been sitting on this one for a long time, so I'm super excited to build this one too. And even though this has a tiny little lander in it that actually fits into the rocket, which is pretty cool, why not upgrade to the new Lego set that NASA released for the anniversary, the Apollo 11 lander set. And I'm also super excited to build this one, so I'm excited to build everything, because you can actually put an astronaut in here and it's kind of functional, which is super cool that they did that. This is going to be a 3-part video, part 1, part 2, part 3. So let's launch into the first video. Like I said, the first video is going to be me building the NASA Lego Women set, and I'm super excited to build it because I absolutely love this set and I've been so looking forward to this. So I'm first going to know all of my pieces so that I know everything that we have. Now that we have all of the pieces set up here on the table, it's now time to start building. But while I'm going to be building these sets for each of these amazing women, I'm going to be saying facts about them because you should totally know more about them. And the first person that I'm going to be building a set for is Margaret Hamilton, the person who was the lead software engineer on Apollo. Margaret Hamilton worked on all the manned and several unmanned Apollo missions. Coding today may seem easy, but back then it was super hard. The programmers would first write code in longhand and then use punch cards. Punch cards were these little tiny cards that had holes punched into them, as of the name. And the way that was coded is if there is a hole in the section or not. Simple programming tasks would require thousands of cards because each card would be a single instruction. They would then use these punch cards to then be fed into the reader. And the reader then converts those cards into binary code, which are ones and zeros. And then that binary code would be put on magnetic tape. Once the reader finished, it would print out the instructions that it followed. And then the programmer would have to read through all of those instructions, and if something went wrong, they'd have to go back to the punched cards and find out where it went wrong, re-punch everything, and go through the entire process. And then once the program was finally completed, it would then be handed off to others that would hardwire it by hand into core row memory banks that were then put into Apollo. That was a long process, and this is what Margaret Hamilton and her entire team did for Apollo. Those are some very interesting facts about Margaret Hamilton, and you can see why she was so instrumental to the Apollo program, among all of the other amazing people like Katherine Johnson that were just as instrumental in rocket science. The next set that I'm going to be building is a mini space shuttle, which is super cool. It's going to be for 2 amazing astronauts. Mae Jemison and Sally Ride. Sally Ride was the first American woman in space and the 3rd woman in space overall. She's also the youngest American astronaut to go into space at the age of just 32. She also worked as a physics professor at the University of California. A lot of people think that she died on one of the space shuttle accidents, but she actually died of pancreatic cancer in 2012. An interesting fact is that she actually served in the committees that investigated the Challenger and Columbia accidents. Mae Jemison is an American engineer, physician, dancer, and former NASA astronaut. She does it all. She was the first Black woman to fly into space, and she flew on the Space Shuttle Endeavour as a mission specialist. She was a doctor with the Peace Corps in Liberia and Sierra Leone, which is pretty cool. She also founded a technology research company and formed a nonprofit educational foundation. She's featured in the National Women's Hall of Fame and the International Space Hall of Fame. It just shows how cool she is. Absolutely love this set, and here's why. This mini space shuttle works exactly like the actual space shuttle did, and that's really cool. Let me show you. The space shuttle launches. Boosters separate from the main tank. This would happen at the same time usually. Space shuttle turns around, and main tank separates. Space shuttle does an orbit around the Earth, does all the science stuff, and then comes back into Earth to land. Super cool. From all the facts that I said, you can see why these two women are not only amazing astronauts, but also amazing people overall. We have one last set in the NASA LEGO Women's set, and that's for Nancy Grace Roman. Now, this set, while I'm building this set, this is going to be slightly emotional. So, Nancy Grace Roman is known as the mother of Hubble, and for anyone who knows me super well, Hubble has a deep meaning to me. I actually call Hubble my big brother because we actually share a birthday. But also, Nancy Grace Roman is one of my main idols, and I was actually able to meet her before she passed. And it was at one of her talks, and she actually took time afterwards to give me some really sound advice, and it meant a lot to me that she actually took time to get to know me a little bit. So I'm really glad that I'm going to be building this set for her too, because it means that I'm going to have a little piece of her around. Nancy Grace Roman was known as the mother of Hubble for good reason. She set up the committee and was deeply involved with the early planning and setting up of the program structure. She was the first woman to hold an executive position at NASA and was the first chief of astronomy at NASA. She was also one of the chiefs of astronomy and solar physics, and at one of the chief of astronomy and relativity. She was also a really good scientist. She had many publications, such as she discovered that stars made of hydrogen and helium moved faster than those with heavier elements, and not all stars that are common are the same age. This may all seem common sense today, but back then this was the information that we needed to move further in our knowledge of the universe. So not only did she set up stepping stones for the Hubble Space Telescope, she also helped set up stepping stones for us to understand our universe. With all of the facts I just gave, you can see why Nancy Grace Roman is one of my main idols. Now that we have all the sets built, as you can see, we have some extra pieces, so I'm going to put these away real quick. I'm really glad that the set gives you extra pieces of all the small things that you can either break or lose. So that's a really nice addition. Now that I have everything built, you can see why this is such an amazing set. And something that I actually didn't mention is that in the booklet, it gives information about each woman. And that's really cool. And it also gives information about the designers who designed this set as well. It also has it in Spanish and French. So if you do have this set or are planning on getting this set or you are getting this set, I totally recommend reading all the information because it's really cool. This set is not being manufactured anymore, so once it is gone, it is officially gone. So if you do want to get this set, I recommend getting it soon before it gets all sold out. And remember, this is the part 1 of the Apollo 50th anniversary series, so make sure to check out part 2, which is where I'm going to be building this super cool rocket set that I can't wait to build.